Hi everyone, welcome to Honey Drops Tarot. This is a special reading for the sign of Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. Libra, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all of your likes, shares, and subscribes. I truly appreciate it. Just a quick note, please do not fall for any scammers. I will never reach out to solicit for a private reading. I do offer private readings, and if you're interested in signing up for one of those or in making a donation, you can find that information in my Buy Me a Coffee link and my official Instagram, all listed in the About section of my YouTube page, and I thank you so much in advance. Libra, I hope that you're doing well. These are messages for the lost, and they were born out of just this period for me, as I'm sure a lot of people were. Just the state of the world is causing everyone to be heightened in their awareness, on edge, or just searching for answers, trying to find meaning in spaces and places where it could be difficult. And so I wanted to do this series of readings because I thought, surely I'm not the only one that's feeling this way. So I wanted to do this series of readings for you, Libra. I'm going to be using two decks for your reading today. The first one for the overall energy is going to be from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck and the Trusted Light Seers Tarot for the tarot portion of your reading. The cards have been pre-shuffled. This is for Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. Thank you. Yeah. So I just want to show you this deck again. This deck, I've had this deck for a long time. And a lot of people have this deck, and it's just gorgeous. And I'm going to read from the book at the end as well. The text in the book usually is just so spot on. But there are 2 or 3 cards in the deck that are very particularly poignant when they appear in a reading. And this one I'm about to show you is one of them. It's number 5, which in the major arcana of the tarot relates to the Hierophant card. 5s can be kind of difficult numbers, especially for me as a reader, because they also represent a kind of transition period. 5s are difficult growth moments. And the card you got was Orphaned. So 5s in the tarot. So the Hierophant is the character in the tarot that is our great teacher. Can represent somebody who acts as a conduit between this world and the spiritual world, like a religious figure, leader, a spiritual leader of some kind. It doesn't have to be, it can be teacher, but a figurehead, somebody who represents rules and regulations and standards and codes of conduct. And all of the 5s in the tarot in each of the suits relate to the 5 of the major arcana. So if you look at the 5s in the wands and the swords and the pentacles and the cups, they're all quite challenging cards. But it's at that point where we experience massive levels of growth and evolution. So the word at the bottom is orphaned. So it's the sense, I'm particularly seeing the 5 of Pentacles, where it's the sense of being left out in the cold, left behind or forgotten, or that feeling of being left behind or forgotten. Maybe you haven't been left behind, but it's that feeling. So this is what you're dealing with right now, and it's kind of apropos if I'm calling a series of readings Messages for the Lost. So we're going to dig deeper into it. I'm going to pull 3 cards for the base spread, 3 cards for clarifier. The first column will be, what am I struggling with? What is Libra struggling with? The second, what can I do for myself? And the third, what can I do for the world? Because some of our most healing moments come when we give of ourselves to others, not to an excessive level, but to a way, or in a way where we give and we also find a purpose. We find our purpose in being a part of this massive collective of humanity, right? So let's get the 6 cards out for Libra, please. Messages for the lost. I am not taking any reversals. Spirit has asked me to stick to uprights. I've always read reversals as long as I've been reading tarot, but they asked me to stick to uprights, so I will do that. 2026 is, even though these readings are timeless, I'm just going to say my 2026 so far has been full of changes. Things I didn't used to do, I'm now doing, and things I used to do, I don't want to do anymore. So, you know, we're allowed to change our minds. And last card out, I have to show you the Justice card, number 11 in the Major Arcana. This is Libra energy. You showed up in your reading. I just wanted to show it to you because it's Spirit's way of telling me that the reading is definitely for a Libra collective. People who have Libra in prominent placements in their chart. So that's amazing. It's powerful when the Major Arcana card for that sign shows up in a reading. So we're going to start with the first 2 cards. What am I struggling with? 10 of Pentacles. Normally this would be an amazing card to get because it talks about family, it talks about, Spirit wanted to say cohesion, things melting and coming together so beautifully, things that fit like pieces of a puzzle. There's, you know, the happy home life, the children dancing around, the dog, the Labrador even. I mean, it's just a blissful scene. I'm also, Spirit wants to point out the lanterns here, lighting the way, and this kind of tree of life formation, and basically something's being called into question at this time in terms of your perhaps stability. This is a Pentacles card. Pentacles is the earth element in the tarot, the 3D world, the material world that we live in. Something is being called, their stability is being called into question. It's something that you are struggling with. Maybe your concept of family is evolving or changing, perhaps in a way that is surprising to you. It is clarified by the King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles, very strong Capricorn leaning, so you may have Capricorn in your chart. These 2 cards together are like powerhouse cards of the suit of Pentacles. It's like the top of the top. It could be one of these situations where this is an interesting slant. Libra has everything, but what do we do now? It's almost like maybe you've amassed this wealth, good fortune, smart business, you have your stable family. Maybe it's not that the stability is called into question, but it's that things are too status quo. And you feel lost because, in a way, it's not that you're not grateful, but it's kind of like when somebody says, is that all there is? Is this what I was supposed to be working hard for? Am I happy? You know, it's one of those situations where people think, the Spirit just said, you know, think about the concept of the grass is always greener. You know, I've worked in a couple of industries where when people make the decision to leave for more money, of course, or just different opportunities, promotions, or, you know, things that they've heard about the competitors, and they, you know, they kind of go away. And obviously this is not everyone, but sometimes they go away and they just thought, wow, it just was not what I thought it was going to be. This is not a reading that is encouraging you to stay or leave. It's just an acknowledgement that whatever you've worked so hard to build You're calling it into question insofar as you are wondering if you're evolving beyond it, if this is enough for you anymore. Maybe you should be striving for more, but if you're striving for more, what is that? What should I be striving for? What should I be looking towards? I hear emergency response vehicles in the background. It's an important message that Spirit wants to get through to you. So let's pull a clarifier. What am I struggling with? What is Libra struggling with? Yeah. Look at that. I mean, look at these two. This character just like looking down. There could be, is it a sense of emergency that you have right now? Where are you having a midlife crisis? A crisis of faith? A crisis of loyalty, not to another person, but loyalty to your younger self. Spirit, because Spirit showed me in this card, the Five of Swords, which is usually a card of competition, winning at all costs. I'm not really reading it through the traditional meaning of the card. I'm kind of looking at this as a younger version of yourself, and it's almost like the younger version of myself would have been over the moon that we're in the position that we're in right now, and yet why am I still wanting? Why can't it just be good enough? So Spirit, so at the time that I'm filming this, the Super Bowl has already happened, and of course everybody is talking about the halftime performance by Bad Bunny, and there's a clip in his performance where he is handing the Grammy Award to the younger version of himself. It's adorable, but it's representative of like speaking to the inner child and saying, look at how far we've come. Like, we won a Grammy, which in the music industry is one of the highest honors you can get for a musician, right? It's an acknowledgement from your peers that you have achieved a level of creativity and status and popularity and ingenuity, innovation that got you this award, right? So for Bad Bunny in that moment, it's like, we worked so hard to get to where we are. And maybe there's part of you that's thinking the same thing. I've worked so hard my whole life to get to this place where things are finally maybe a little stable, a little calm, but there's still something nagging at me. It doesn't mean that you're not grateful, but when the call of Spirit is tapping on the door of your heart, it's very hard to ignore. It's very hard to ignore. So the next column, what can I do for myself? What can Libra do for themselves? Seven of Swords, another Swords card. The Swords card is your suit, the air element. It talks all about thoughts, right? That's why there are a lot of crows in this deck representing all of the thoughts that we're having. When we get the Seven of Swords, it talks about strategy, strategizing, kind of piecing all of those thoughts together and coming up with a plan. Sometimes this can be the card of sneakiness. It can be a card of, if in a certain context, it can be a card of thievery, you know, like trying to make a quick getaway. I don't see that for you, Libra. I see it as employing a kind of savviness. You know, let's be smart about the next moves that we're going to make. And we're going to strike on those moves in a way that is not haphazard. And there could be somebody or something trying to call you out on that, or, you know, looking at your plans, you know, and it could be somebody very close to you, like a sibling or a parent, looking at your plans and thinking, you know, those are pipe dreams, Libra. Like, what do you even, like, why would you even give up something so steady to go after a pipe dream? That's just an example. And I just felt the fluctuation in my right ear, like the frequency in my right ear just changed slightly. So I feel like your spirit guides were vibing with that. Spirit is showing me a very specific clip from, there's a podcast that's also on YouTube, tremendously popular. Is it like the #3 podcast in the world, if not higher? I don't know. 2 guys from England, James and Fuad. You probably know what this podcast is called. It starts with an S and it's N Gigs, and very, very funny, very inappropriate, but hilarious all the same. I don't always agree with what they say, but sometimes they say things and I want to spit out my drink because they just make me laugh. Because there's nothing funnier than true blue friends. Like friends that have been friends forever. You're basically like a married couple. You just riff off of each other. There's nothing funnier than that to me when I encounter people who are with their best friends and they're just bantering back and forth. There's nothing funnier. But anyway, early on in their podcasting career, which is not that old, it's not that old of a podcast, but James was talking about how he used to have these sales jobs and he was terrible at it. James was never meant for like a normal job, a normal 9-to-5. And there's nothing wrong with normal 9-to-5s, but he's one of these people that was just not meant, his personality is not meant for it, right? But he tried to go with the flow. He tried to do what society says that we should do, get a 9-to-5, make a living, etc., etc. And he was telling his brother that he wanted to make enough money so that he could buy his father, their father, the car of his dreams, which don't ask me what car it is. Something that's 6 figures, very expensive car. And his brother, who is moderately successful, I think, in his own right, at the time, was like, are you an idiot? How? You don't even make X amount of dollars. How on earth are you, of all people, gonna make enough money to where you can buy our father his dream car? You're crazy. Right? So there was something in him, though, that told him he was meant for more. Told him he was meant for more. And when he started the podcast with his best friend, they just hustled and they didn't give up. And he was telling this story, I think at their 1 millionth YouTube subscriber, something, right? I'm listening to this particular episode, like walking home from my day job and really on the precipice of thinking about starting my own YouTube channel, right? Because I was on the fence about it, and I listened to that episode and it was like Spirit was speaking to me and saying, you have to start somewhere and you can't constantly put it off anymore. You can't make excuses. You have to come up with a plan and execute that plan. And no matter who is squawking, even if it's your own self making all that noise, just push forward, right? Ace of Pentacles. Push forward with the opportunities that are being presented to you. Silver platter, Spirit's hands. From Spirit's silver platter to your hands. That's how the Ace of Pentacles looks. This is a legitimate opportunity, a door opening, a crucial conversation, a chance for you to start anew. But it requires you to really put your thoughts together and maybe not get stuck in this energy or acknowledge that you might be in this energy, and then, okay, I can feel maybe bad for myself for a little while, but then I have to lift myself out of it, and I need to come up with a plan so that when these opportunities present themselves, if they haven't already, but I feel like they have, that I am in the position to be able to take advantage of it, make the most of it, right? In what can I do for the world? Because when we are in service to ourselves, that's when we do the most for the world, actually. When we're true to our calling, when we follow our heart, that's actually how we serve the world, because you raise your vibration. And when you raise your vibration, you can't help but raise the vibration of people around you, because then you have enough fuel and reserves in your own self and your own heart, because you're proud of who you are, because you've acknowledged your strengths, that you can then hold space for other people who might still be going through the journey, through the evolution of trying to figure out who they are. You got the Empress, number 3, the Major Arcana. My favorite card in any tarot deck is the Empress. She holds the power of all 4 queens. She is the master attractor. She's fertile with ideas. She's beautiful and abundant, and she knows her worth. And she doesn't go chasing after anything. She doesn't have to. Things come to her, sometimes as if by magic, as if by manifestation. Like, we put the manifestation out in the world, and then Spirit says, here you go. You were really resonating with that manifestation that you wanted, so I'm going to give it to you. Makes sense. The Empress, the counterpart to the Emperor, is, you know, even though she's kind of one half of a power couple in the tarot, she is tremendously powerful on her own. She also represents Libra energy, but Libra shared with Taurus. What can you do for the world is literally to emanate and radiate confidence and beauty, which we know Libras don't have to try very hard. You just do. You just radiate. But you actually have to own it. It can't be tucked away and hidden and seen only by a few. You have to be out and loud and proud of your awesomeness. It has to be on display somehow. And I don't know why this, I think I'm saying this because of her big belly here and the world contained therein. Literally, this column is called What Can I Do for the World? It's like you're carrying the world in your proverbial womb. The world is in you. So you can't hide it. It's too big. You can't hide who you are. It's too big. Your personality is too vast and too powerful. And here we end with your card, Justice. Major Arcana number 11, Libra energy. Talking about karmic balance, karmic justice, things coming into a sense of equilibrium, that whatever lessons you had to learn, you have learned them. And now it's time to, it's like when you are unencumbered by your karma, when you're not constantly repeating cycles and making the same mistakes and then wondering yourself, why do I keep doing this? When you have broken away from that, freed yourself from that, you just have so much space in your life to then be able to do and act and be in other ways that are more progressive for you. So that's actually what you're going to be able to give to the world. This newfound sense of freedom about yourself to be able to express how truly magnificent you are. And I'm not just saying that, like, my favorite card. She doesn't just show up for anybody. So I'm going to read from the book number 5, Orphaned. Let's see what Colette Baron Reed has to say about it. a sense of loss, an identity crisis. An identity crisis, we talked about that earlier. Recognizing that you don't fit in, the need to belong, uncertainty about your place. I think part of this is you feeling like you had to kind of tuck yourself away, and Spirit is saying, don't do that. We were all meant to have connections with other people within our families, society, and the larger culture. No man is an island, and it's important to recognize when being a part of, rather than separate from, is essential to your well-being. The issue at hand is the need to find where you fit. Be true to your core truths and values. Perhaps you no longer identify with a group or community the way you did before and need to find a new situation. You might be feeling a deep sense of loss or confusion. Address the need for belonging and know that you will find your place with others of like mind and spirit. It's okay to let go of pressure to fit in. Not everyone will understand you. It's time to move on. So that's your reading, Libra. I hope that it resonated. If it did, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Please hit the bell notification to be updated as to when I post new readings. Thank you, Libra.